Okay, welcome to the road to Barcelona. It's been a few weeks since I last posted a video, so if you've been following along, apologies for that. Sometimes life gets in the way. It's been a really busy few weeks, finishing off the year from a work perspective. Lots of other family and social commitments going on, and although training hasn't taken a back seat, it's been difficult to find the time to put together some videos. But now we're into 2023. As I sit here in the first week of January, hopefully life is going to go back to something a little bit more normal and manageable. But it does give me the opportunity to give you an overview of what I've been doing over the last few weeks before Christmas, and then over the Christmas period, and then what's likely to come up in store over the next coming weeks and months as we look to progress through 2023 and into kind of the summer before the race in October. So I'm just going to share training peaks with you on the screen and just talk you through very broad terms in terms of what I've been doing over the last few weeks. So this is the follow-on week from the last time that I dropped a video out. So this is week commencing the 5th of December. So this was, if you remember from previous videos, we work in 4-week cycles. So we do 3 build weeks and then 1 recovery week where we drop the volume and the intensity down to maybe 60% of the previous build week, to let the work that has been done during the 3 build weeks really get cemented as we recover through during that week. So that week, 5th of December, so that at that point we were up to around about 8 hours in volume. This was a little bit of a patchy week. The family routine slightly changed as my wife got a new job. So there's a few little misses during this week, which I don't like to see, but sometimes you just have to move forward as life throws things at you. Broadly, the week structure stayed the same throughout the whole of November and December. So you can see through this week we've got 3 runs. So we've got 2 standalone runs and then a third run, which should have been a brick run, but because I missed the bike that week, it just became a standalone 25-minute run. So overall volume around 8 hours. You can see there 7:58 to be precise. And the long bike, remember we talked about how important that session was. That's progressed up to 2 hours 35. So that's really sort of moving forward as we go through the weeks. So moving on to the next week, which was our 3rd build week out of this particular cycle. Again, a very similar in terms of the structure of the week. I've been doing some additional strength and exercises here because I've got a slight Achilles injury. So that's where those additional strength exercises have been thrown in there. And throughout this week, we've increased the volume to around 8.5 hours. So an increase on the previous week of 30 minutes. And again, you can see a broadly similar structure. So we've got the 2 main runs with a brick run off the bike on the Sunday. In the week, we've got 2 bikes, 1 structured session there with some intervals in it on Wednesday, and then an easy bike on the Saturday. And then the long bike I moved to the Sunday that week. That was 2 hours 45, so another 10 minutes on top of the previous long bike of 2:35. So just incremental steps on that one. And from a swim perspective, I haven't talked about swim very much throughout the course of the videos. At the moment, just doing 2 swims a week, somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on what time I've got. At this time of the year for me, my opinion is it's just good to get some consistency in the pool going, not to worry too much about distance. If you've got some time to work on stroke technique, it's a great time of the year to do that, but not to worry about the clock and your pace and speed at this time of year. It's just maintain that consistency and work on some of the weaknesses in your stroke. So that's that week. I'd say about 8.5 hours or just over. And then made the decision this time, because it was Christmas week, the week commencing the 19th and the week commencing the 26th, instead of having 1 recovery week, decided to have 2 recovery weeks. So I made this a 5-week cycle. And both of those recovery weeks were around about 6 hours. There's a few reasons for that. One is that I wanted to spend some time with the family during Christmas and really take the time to recharge and relax. 2023 is going to be a really busy year from a training perspective. So I wanted to make sure I started it fairly fresh and raring to go. And if I undercooked those 2 weeks, then the chances are that by the time we got to January, I was feeling really ready to go, which I am today. So both of those weeks were around about 6 hours. There's a little bit of additional strength work again, still going through around the physio exercises. But again, I've tried to keep, even though they're recovery weeks, tried to keep a sort of similar structure. You can see the long bike at the weekend was dropped down from 2:45, which was the previous build week, to 2 hours. And the runs are just coming in around about 40 minutes for 2 of those, and then only one swim session. I was hoping to do a second swim, but because it was Christmas Eve, I just didn't get a chance. I was wrapping presents instead. So that was bang on 6 hours. And then week commencing the 26th. So Boxing Day was a rest day, as was Christmas Day. And then throughout the rest of the week, made up actually just slightly more than that, 7.5 hours, because I added a few extra things in. This week I did actually do some of the optional swim, and also 40 minutes of that was a walk. That was a family walk that we did, but I used my Garmin to track that, so that gets added into the volume of that week. And if you like, that sort of replaces the need for one of the runs. So yeah, again, the long bike, I did that in 2 parts, just from a social perspective. There's things going on Sunday. So I did 30 minutes earlier on in the day, and then I did an hour and 35 later on in the day. Again, sometimes life just throws things at you, and you just have to be a bit flexible about how you arrange your training. Aside from that, there was 2 runs, an hour run and a 30-minute run. A couple of swims. One was a sort of 30-minute swim where I did almost 2K, and then the second swim was just a short 20-minute swim. It was all I could fit in during the week. The main thing about that week was to recover, was to not get too stressed about the sessions that had got booked in, and really arrive on Monday, the 2nd of January, as the start of my training year in a good state, which I did. So what have we got this week coming up? So you can see this week's training plan is around about 9 hours 22, which is a fair increase on the 2 recovery weeks. But because of the 7-8 weeks I did prior to those recovery weeks, I'm in a pretty good position to move into that kind of volume zone. So what we've got this week is we've got 2 swims. We've got one today on on Tuesday, and then one on Thursday. We've got 3 bikes. So we've got 2 interval bikes sessions now. I'll talk a little bit about those interval sessions in the next video. And then a long ride, which is moving on from the 2:45 we did in the last build week to 3 hours on Sunday. In terms of run, got a 45-minute run later today. Hopefully it's going to stop raining. Another one again on Thursday, and then a really, really short brick run off that long bike on Sunday. So that's how the week breaks down. It's a slightly bigger week from a volume point of view. We'll see how we go, and again, if I have to adjust that as we go through, I'll take some volume out towards the end of the week. But I feel pretty good, having rested for a couple of weeks. Feel pretty confident at delivering that week. First week back at work should be fairly light, so that should get things moving again. And looking forward to taking things forward. From here, throughout the rest of the year, I'm going to start to plan out a bit more of a longer term plan that will take me up to the race, work out when my B races are going to be, how the cycle's going to look, and maybe on the next video I'll give you some details about how that breaks down. But for now, that's what's been going on over the last few weeks. Hopefully I can start reposting the videos once a week again, more regularly, and give you some tips and tricks as we go through. And yeah, thanks for sticking with us and coming along the journey. Speak to you again soon. Bye bye.